My name is Malik. I'm a guard at a car park in a big city. I've been living in this city for 35 years now. I've come a long way. This is my story. Growing up, I lived in a hut in a small village with my mother, father, and 2 sisters. My father was a mean person, so one morning, after he left for work, my mother packed all our belongings and told us that we had to leave immediately. We weren't allowed to ask questions until we were on the bus far away from home. After leaving the village, my mother took us to a big city. There were many homeless people looking for work, so we felt like we belonged. I remember when we first arrived, how new and different everything felt. We didn't speak the language, which made it hard. It was noisy and busy all the time. I watched how impatient motorists blared their car horns. Kids in the back would look nervous. My mother noticed I was staring at them and laughed. She said, "All the people have problems, but some problems are bigger than others." After rush hour, I would help my mother look for recyclables in the rubbish bins. We would take these recyclables to a scrap merchant in exchange for some money. We still couldn't afford to buy nice clothes or go to school, but at least we didn't go hungry. My sisters would make beaded jewelry and sell it on the street corners. This was our childhood. We lived from hand to mouth and were constantly looking for new ways to make money. When I was about 17 years old, I decided to get off the streets. So I moved to a crowded township on the outskirts of the city. There often wasn't enough water and electricity for everyone. At first, I was hesitant because I needed what the city could offer, money. But I knew that a long trip every day was better than living on the streets. At least I had a roof over my head and I was part of a community. Soon after I moved, I became a father to a beautiful baby girl. I hadn't planned on becoming a father, but this baby was the best gift I had ever received. Sadly, her mother left us. She did not want a child. So a friendly neighbor helped me raise my daughter. Eventually, this neighbor and I fell in love, got married, and had 2 children of our own, 2 boys. By this time, I had found a job as a car guard. There was no salary, only the tips from the shoppers. At the end of every day, my boss would make me hand over most of the tips. My clients found out about this. They scolded him, and he immediately stopped. I was so happy. I got to take home more money for my family. I spent a lot of time traveling to the city each day. I would leave home before sunrise and walk to the taxi line. Then when I arrived in the city, I would walk for almost an hour to get to work. Occasionally, one of my sons would come to the city with me. While I would guard the car park, he would stand on the street corner. When the cars stopped at the traffic light, he would weave between cars asking for money. Many drivers would shake their heads without making eye contact, but most of them just looked past him. One day, my son was on the pavement with a young girl. She was handing him something. He pulled out a laptop. He stared at it. Then he hugged the laptop and ran towards me. "Baba, look." It was such a generous gift that it made me, a grown man, cry. The young girl and her mother said they often saw me when they did their shopping. They began to ask questions that no one had ever asked me before. Where was I from? Where did I live? How many children did I have? They were actually interested in me and my life. I have seen a lot in my life. Hurt, fear, anger, violence, abuse. I have seen poverty from the inside and wealth from the outside. But when the girl and her mother took the time to talk to us and gave us something meaningful, I saw something unique. I saw kindness. I realized something that day. Wealth does not come from the things you own, but from the things you give. And the most valuable gift of all is the time to get to know and understand each other.